Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Above the Yellow Line live stream on a Thursday night. We've been gone for 2 weeks. This is crazy
Jeez,
because
that's like
Fourth of
half a
July,
month.
and yeah, that's insane. This is rare for us. So we're glad you're here. Of course, joined by Ben Branscombe. The rest of the ATYL crew, unfortunately, cannot make it tonight. But I'm glad Ben, you're here. We're gonna have a
I'm
fun
glad to
time.
be
We're gonna
here.
chill.
It's been a minute
Yeah,
since I've even been on one of these. It's been over
I know.
2 weeks for me. So
That's the other thing too. Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah, because we took a break for 4th of July, and obviously, as you all probably know if you follow me on social media, last week was a rough one, so had to take last week off. But thank you all for the kind words, support. I appreciate it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my social media page. I don't want to cry tonight, but we're good. So, um, appreciate it all. Of course, this coming week or this weekend, we're going to the Indy Oval for
Ooh.
the Xfinity Series, and
Is it
of
an oval? Or
course,
is it a rectangle?
mm,
These are
hmm.
the hard hitting questions
These
that
are
I
the
ask.
these are the questions that we ask here on Above the Yellow Line. I think it's a fancy rectangle. I'll give it fancy rectangle.
I feel like it's a rectangle. It's the whole like not all squares are rectangles, but all rectangles are squares argument too.
Like
So
that. Also, heads up, journalism major here. I was never good at math, so shapes, geometry,
journalism
it doesn't work.
dropout here.
Heck yeah. Hey, but look at us now, working in journalism. So fun. Video
Yeah.
journalism, etc. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. But obviously, Cup Series back at the Indy Oval, and then of course Truck in ARCA at IRP, right?
Yes. They're running
Yeah.
the short track down in Cambridge, maybe. I've actually never been to IRP. I really want to go one day. So
Same here. Bucket list track. Yeah, good to see you all in the chat here.
Adam says it's a
Yeah.
rectangle. Last week was a triangle. This is a rectangle. This week is a rectangle. Yeah, that's the true.
Yeah. I see. Honestly, I love that. It's all about shapes in NASCAR. We got ovals, rectangles, squigglies, with road
Squigglies.
courses.
Scientific
Because
term.
there's a term for shapes like that that don't, you know what I mean? Math,
I
geometry
I
doesn't.
barely made it past geometry. Like I almost failed
Yeah.
geometry in high school and got a C. And then they made me do algebra 2
Honestly,
in
me
high school
too.
from senior year.
I was otherwise a straight
Well,
A student, but every
I
math class I took.
also hi Howie. I hope you're doing well.
Hi, Howie.
I
Yeah,
hope you had a
Howie
great day.
DiSavino in the chat. Everybody, make sure you follow him.
Oh, eggs. He's right. We got eggs
Yeah.
with Darlington.
That's true. That's true.
It's true.
Yeah. Talking about shapes here. NASCAR, if you really break it down, is just cars race on shapes.
Some
That's it.
existential. Everything's a shape if you break it down hard enough. This is getting
I hate
existential.
that. I hate
So
that.
Pocono.
Yeah, so Pocono. Yeah, let's talk. Also, yes, because we're back at the Indy Oval, wearing my Jeff Gordon shirt.
Oh,
Makes
okay.
sense. Yeah. See, if Adam was going to be on the show too, I'd have been like, "Hey, Adam," because Adam loves Jeff Gordon. But here we are. Howie, we have to have Howie back on the show at some point later this year, for sure.
We do.
So the interview we did with Howie, what was this, 2 years ago at this point, was wild. What a time that was.
Has it been 2 years?
It's been about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. My God.
I'm old.
We're both so old. Everyone's getting older. It's kind of scary. But so the past 2 weeks, the point standings for me, obviously I was leading every week up until 2 weeks ago. And then Adam, out of nowhere, comes back, which is crazy. So he's leading. I'm behind by 10 points. Ben, you're only behind by 17 points.
Yeah,
So,
I've struggled this year and I'm not happy about it.
yeah. Hey, you had a good comeback when we went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, hey, like I almost died last year and I won the championship, so why not? Also, Brian, it's right here in this chair. Actually, my Phillies hat. If I could point, that's where it's at. My hair looked nice tonight, so. But yeah, no,
you're doing great.
I'm really inconsistent with wins this year, and I'm really upset about it. So.
I was on a roll with wins. Well, then here's the trick. We've learned that anytime somebody picks Denny Hamlin, they will win that weekend. So I guess the trick now is pick Denny Hamlin. Because Adam, every single win he's had but one this year has been Denny Hamlin, and he's racked up what is that, 9 wins this season?
1, 2, 3, 4,
I can't count
5,
that.
6, 7. Also, why is
7.
this? Does the extra highlighted green one mean anything different on Adam?
Yes. So if you see the extra highlighted win, that's an actual race win. So during our race week, we have random race winning picks. And they might not be the actual race winner, but it's whoever is the highest finishing position of all of our picks wins that week. But if it was the actual race winner, they get a little green highlight and extra points to our playoff standings. And we'll explain that all again once we get to the playoffs for us. So
It would help if I actually read the rule book that we have that I haven't read.
that's okay. Yeah, we have a whole rule book for our own playoff standings, which is unique. It's unique for sure. We really went all in on it. And then, of course, next year we're going to have to redo some of the rules again based off of hiccups we saw this year already. But
Yeah.
Adams was doing a great job keeping up with that. So shout out to Adam. Oh, yeah. The
Real.
thing with Indy, we'll get to this too, is in the Xfinity Series is running the restrictor plate package this weekend, or the Super Speedway package, which will be interesting. I'm nervous about that. I'm nervous. I mean, there's extra practice time for both series this weekend, which I'm thankful for because they're going to need it.
Wow.
But
Finally.
not by much. But yeah, kind of. Ooh, don't know how I feel about that. Anywho, what really matters right now is not our point standings, even though I'd like to think it does. It would be the actual Cup Series standings this week. So let's take a look at that. Now, what I want to point out here is the regular season championship. There's a 3-point difference between Chase Elliott, who's leading it right now, and Kyle Larson. So that's going to be a fun battle to watch as these last few weeks of the regular season wind on down. But Christopher Bell right now in the playoff rank with his wins and playoff points sits on top of the seed for the playoffs. And then, of course, Kyle Larson around that cutoff line, though. Ross Chastain now is the one above the cutoff line, and Chris Buescher moved up. Ross, of course, had a pretty rough week, plus 27.
Yeah.
Then Bubba Wallace closes that gap, minus 27, below that cutoff line. Anything of note, Ben, after Pocono? Obviously, we're going to talk about the penalty / the non-penalty for Corey LaJoie in a few seconds. Of course, I know that's a topic for all of us, but anything else you want to bring up with Pocono, especially looking at these points?
I thought, and I'm not really a Pocono fan. I thought these were really good races this weekend. I thought
they were solid.
I thought overall the weekend was pretty solid. It was pretty Pocono for the most part overall, but I thought it was a better Pocono weekend than what some of us have experienced in the past. This may be a general topic of conversation question, but after watching, we're cooked. I didn't know we were cooked. After watching just this past weekend, it kind of started this like thought process in my brain of, speaking of cooked, is like Trackhouse cooked this year in general? I mean, Suarez won in Atlanta, but like they've not really an SVG, obviously in Xfinity, but that's like a half colleague deal. I don't know. It's just something I think about every now and then, especially after Ross's wreck and kind of where he sits now. I mean, he's currently 27 points above the playoff line after this week. And Bubba needed a big weekend at Pocono. And while it probably wasn't the result he loved, he still has a chance now, which is big.
Right.
So yeah, overall though, really solid weekend overall. Fun times. Pocono is pretty chill vibes. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. And I will say too, like I love Pocono. My favorite races that we had at Pocono were the double headers. I believe that was like 2020.
Yeah, during COVID.
It was just so fun. Great racing for both of those. But this in particular was a really not good week for that one team. Now it's possible for Bubba Wallace to still point his way in. It's not like a must-win situation. I mean, Ross Chastain has one more bad week and Wallace is above that cutoff line. So it's tough, but I think he still has a chance to make it up with the tracks we have coming up. Especially just even knowing too how good 2311 is at short tracks. I mean, all of Toyota's good at short tracks anyways, but with Richmond coming up and the option tire and how good Bubba Wallace was at least at North Wilkesboro the past 2 years, knowing that we're going to have the same option tires and things like that, like I think he has a good shot coming up. So,
And I mean, you have the while we have data on Indy, it's from a generation of a car ago. And from a different package a year ago. So this is a really big. Taylor Kitchen is also my favorite celebrity. This is a really big unknown weekend for a lot of guys and a lot of people. I mean, I'm trying to think of, you have Hamlin, Harvick, Logano. I mean, who else probably? Probably a good chunk of these guys ran the oval when it was last run in 2020, but or I think it was 2020.
But past winners that we have in the field that are still full time. I'm not counting Jimmy Johnson, who will be in the field this weekend. But Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, past winners at the oval configuration. So
I expect them to hopefully have good runs just because they know this configuration fairly well and have won here. Yeah, this is a very interesting point situation as we run it down to it all. Also, congratulations to Blaney. I really think that team's going to get on
Oh
a
my
heater
gosh.
now. Like I really expect
Yeah.
it to get on a heater. So,
Yeah.
to answer your question, Howie, right now it's overall Martin Truex Jr. the Cup Series, but in my heart it's you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, with Truex retiring, we're gonna have to figure out a new driver for Ben. It might take some time.
yeah, if
That's okay.
tell me, tweet at me who I should have as my favorite driver for next year. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or leave it in the comments. This is something we can debate this time. Also, shout
Sure.
out to Veterans for Life Racing. Thanks so much. Good team. You can find them also with Goat Locker Racing. They, of course, great partners of ours at Above the Yellow Line, an iRacing group for veterans. It's a really fun group. And then, of course, Veterans for Life is one of their partners as well. They have a team within Goat Locker Racing series. So very cool to see them there. Yeah, we love Ryan Blaney here too. We are not biased, but we like Ryan Blaney.
We're not
So
biased, but we love him.
we'll leave it at that. But no, what you said with Trackhouse too, I wanted to get to this piece of news for a second, just as it kind of ties into everything. They've had an off season, obviously. Avenue Sports Fund acquires significant minority stake in Trackhouse Entertainment Group. So bringing in some extra funding, some different ideas, different resources into Trackhouse, hopefully to help their performance. And obviously, SVG has won the past 3 road course races in a row. That's a big deal. He sits first in their playoff standings right now with his playoff points and his wins, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But outside of that, really nothing. Obviously, I mean, Connor Zillage, he's not racing full time in NASCAR right now, but he's done well in any other series that he's raced in. I mean, I think of the Mazda Cup
MX-5s.
series. Yeah. And I love that series. News
I mean,
about
he's a
that too
Daytona
later in the
24
show.
winner already.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great, but within
He's
their
leading the points in ARCA
NASCAR
East.
scope, I mean, yeah, ARCA East he's doing fantastic in. So I don't know.
It's Friday night.
Yep, exactly. And we'll talk about ARCA too when we get to preview this weekend. So don't you worry, we'll get there. But yeah, so not a great weekend for Trackhouse. I'd like to see them pick up the pace. And quite honestly, for me, Daniel Suarez, I love him to pieces. He's an awesome guy. He's going to be a first round exit. Playoffs. He won't make it.
You never know. You can never tell with this format, especially
with this format. You never know.
Well, I mean, like look at the first round. Hold on, I don't have the first round pulled up on me, and I've been all over the place.
It's okay.
I apologize for my lack of skill in this moment. Let's see if we look at this. This is the point standings. I need this schedule. You animals.
The NASCAR schedule for the playoffs is interesting this year. Remember, we moved things around.
Yeah, I was going to say we've moved things around this year. I feel Dom judging me for not knowing the play or not knowing the schedule off the top of my head. Atlanta, Watkins Glen's in there, road course guy.
Yeah. So I mean, they're saving graces for these drivers in each one, which is interesting. I mean, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol. That is a kind of brutal first round. It's a wake up call.
You never know, kids.
You never know. You just never know.
That's why we run the races.
Exactly.
So yeah, Pocono is good.
On the topic of Pocono, but kind of moving on. Obviously, the topic for debate this week has been the non-penalty for Corey LaJoie. And I should just say there was no penalty for Corey LaJoie following an on-track incident. Like that's more grammatically correct. But obviously, 40 laps to go. In the race, LaJoie turned directly into the left rear of Kyle Busch. Of course, before that moment, Kyle Busch blocked him and etc. Crew members on LaJoie's radio had said he hooked himself. He got what he deserved. Elton Sawyer set the record straight as to why there was no penalty given to LaJoie, basically saying it was a racing deal, saying that LaJoie didn't have anything to say on the radio. It was all his crew. NASCAR is, however, planning to talk to LaJoie to, quote, make sure he's in a good place. But essentially the position was to allow the drivers to race like this under green flag conditions, to race it out. Past penalties, of course, the past few weeks, Hocevar penalized $50,000, 25 drivers points with making contact with Burton under yellow flag conditions. Bubba Wallace, $50K for making contact with Bowman on the cool down laps. And then if we look back even farther to an intentional wreck, and again, there was no intent mentioned by the driver specifically on the radio, but I look back to like 2022 with the 600 when Elliott, 2023, sorry, with the 600 when Elliott intentionally wrecked Hamlin. Yeah, I think back to that. So, but there was intent mentioned on Elliott's radio. So, I mean, hell, Howie was shocked there wasn't a penalty. Ben, what do you think?
I am what is the quote from Malcolm in the Middle? I expect nothing and I'm still let down. That Dewey says for
That's
his
valid.
birthday or whatever.
It's valid.
Um, I I feel like it should have been a penalty.
Mhm.
That is, as we have seen countless replays of, and then they played during the race itself. Wrecking into turn one at Pocono is not ideal. Granted, it
No.
was a restart; they weren't up to full speed yet. But definitely not a great look when you run over a guy at 160 miles an hour and kill the 41, the 47, the 4, whoever else was involved in that wreck. Not great, kid, especially when you want to talk about, you're working so hard to earn a cup ride and you do stuff like, or earn a better cup ride and you do stuff like that. Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta be better than that. I expect better from you, and you did that, and it's disappointing.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's not just been this weekend. This season, there's been questionable racing from the number 7 of LaJoy. Nothing against LaJoy. I think he's a great guy, super nice, but there's been questionable moves behind the wheel where I'm like, the talk isn't matching the actions on track. And this
yeah,
one for me, it follows with the idea that a driver did not specifically mention intent. Therefore, there's
yeah,
no penalty. But then it goes back to the idea that NASCAR is policing what is a racing deal and what is not. And
yeah.
when we've had the past few penalties the past few weeks, it's questionable.
It's also like, number one, I don't love this whole online discourse and comparison between this and the Bubba Wallace thing.
It's
Um,
different.
they're different at the end of the day.
Different
They're
situations.
different situations, they're different circumstances. Uh, sorry, my boss is texting me at 7:30 at night.
It's
Everything's fine. I
7:30
promise,
in the
everything's fine.
evening. Okay,
Uh,
that's good. That's good.
everything's fine. I don't know. If I'm Corey LaJoy and I am who I say I am, and I try to race with integrity and try and race respectfully, I go to Kyle Busch and say, "Hey, man, I
Yeah.
really didn't like the block." I talk to him. I don't text him. I don't call him. I go to him face to face this weekend in the garage and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you," because he's had a heck of a season and it's not been good. Uh, but
And
then I also go to those other teams' garages and say, "Hey, man,
right.
I'm really sorry. I'm genuinely so sorry. I did not mean for that to get to that point."
Mhm.
He is stacking problems, John. He is
He
stacking
is.
problems.
That's really good. I will say too, when it gets to a point when Kyle Busch is like, he doesn't have to talk to me or I don't care or whatever, Kyle Busch is just done. Like, not done in the sense that doesn't want to race anymore, but I don't want to say given up, but he's like, whenever the luck turns around, I'll take it. But right now, we're just stuck in the situation we're in, which it's
Yeah,
just awful with that
yeah.
team. And we
It's
discussed this over and over and over, but yeah,
yeah, it's tough.
tough.
I don't. Yeah, it's not a good look for him.
Yeah.
No matter how you cut it. And he's had a tough year. I mean, part of it too is, excuse me, part of it too is he's probably feeling the pressure because you've got Carson Hocevar who's running
Outperforming
well
you.
and honestly outperforming it, and then you have Zane Smith who is on fraud watch. But I mean,
Yeah.
Zane Smith is touted to be one of the next. Has been touted to be one of the next big drivers in the sport. Will that happen? I don't know. He's on fraud watch right now. Fraud
Mhm.
watch. Um, that's my
Yeah.
trademark actually. But
Yeah.
it's one
We
of
need a
those things
graphic
that
now.
we do, which is my face. Um, but it's one of those things that he's probably feeling the pressure of this, and I get that there's some weight on him because he's kind of carried that banner of Spire for a while now.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you got to like. There's a reason why they're bringing Michael McDowell over. Like, you got to be worried, brother. Like, you
And
gotta think smarter, not harder.
somebody mentioned this. Somebody mentioned it. I want to make sure I bring it up if I can. If not, okay. Oh, here we go. Adam brought up this point. With Ronnie Childers joining your team as your crew chief in 2025, there is no longer an excuse to not perform. There's no longer an excuse. It's going to take you a bit to get used to that chemistry for sure. But I would expect the second half of the season, you're
Yeah,
able to get top 10s. Maybe not top fives, but top 10s, consistent top 15s at
yeah,
least. So, because again, we don't totally know yet with all Aspire's changes what they're truly capable of. We've seen glimpses of brilliance with Carson Hocevar for sure, in my opinion, this season. Not brilliance, I would just say glimpses of positivity going his way. But with Ronnie on your team, if you're not able to perform the second half of 2025, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm excited to see this pairing. I wish it was still Josh Berry and Ronnie. I think they made an excellent group, quite honestly. So I don't know, but that all aside with the Corey LaJoie stuff, I do agree with you, Ben. I think it would be great for him to talk to everyone who was involved in that incident.
Really quickly,
He's main yeah, go ahead.
I apologize, I interrupted you there. Just for funsies' sake, I pulled up average finishes for Corey LaJoie. We'll go back to 2020. 2020
Perfect.
was 25.6. Average finish
Mhm.
2021, 24.9, a net gain. 24.3 in 2022, another net gain. He sees a massive leap going to 20.8 in 2023.
Yeah,
This
sure.
year, he's fallen back down to 23.1. He has regressed so far.
Mhm.
Only has one top 5, one top 10. Last year had two, and this is total season, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. So,
Yeah. I mean, so there's still a ways to go. There's still second half of the season to where we could see LaJoie really pick it up, but I don't know. It was not a good look for him this weekend, but
no.
still a ways to go. All
Yeah.
right. Cool.
Also, if you're a
Well,
Kyle Busch fan, I'm sorry.
yeah, we're so sorry if you're a
There's no
Kyle
way to
Busch
put it.
fan.
We're sorry, man,
My
or
God.
woman, or whoever you are. They,
Whoever
that,
you
he,
are,
him,
we're
they,
sorry.
thems. It's tough out there.
Let's answer some questions from the audience that I kind of flagged here.
Ooh.
Um, one question from John, I'm going to paraphrase this a little differently. Who do we think from SHR could also be going to front row with Noah Gragson? There's still one seat open. It's Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, the reunion of the two from KBM, which I'm super excited about. But who could be going there? Is it somebody from SHR or something different?
The rumor. Do we want to talk about rumors on here? Should we? I don't know.
We've talked about rumors in the past. Why not? We're going to talk about more rumors in a second. So go for it.
The word on the street is a mayor, whether a city mayor or a
Mhm.
driver named mayor, is taking that seat. Figure that
Nice.
one out, kids. Which is a thing in of itself. This leads more to the question of what's Ryan Priest going to do, I feel like, than anything.
Right.
And I genuinely feel like in the game of musical chairs, he will be the odd man out at the end of the day.
I agree.
He doesn't really bring too much funding.
That. Yep.
It's just,
Yeah, and he hasn't done it enough this year specifically to prove that he deserves to stay in Cup performance-wise.
You want to talk
getting
about
those results.
regression? Priest went through a little regression from going from the 30 or the 47, I think is what he drove for. Either way, when he was at JTG,
Yeah.
he has had a lot of regression so far in his time.
Yeah.
But hey, he had 2 black eyes and drove with that, so that's cool.
Yeah, that was badass. Kind of, I guess.
Badass.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, I think with Noah Gragson, I know Sam Mayer is the rumored pick to go there. I know everyone's like maybe Riley Herbst, maybe whatever. I mean, we
I've
don't
also heard
know.
rumor on Herbst and where he could go.
I have
So
too. I mean, I've heard the rumor for him is maybe 2311, but also people are throwing Corey Heim into the mix that maybe he goes to 2311. There's a lot in the mix, and then you also have to remember, the Haas Factory team is going to have 2 open Xfinity Series rides.
yeah,
So that's the other thing.
that's a big domino that I feel like needs to fall at this point. Is
Yeah.
who Haas Factory or whatever we're going to call them now, who they're going to take at the end of the day. Because that's a big domino of, well, I mean, Cole Custer announced today that he's having an announcement on Saturday.
Yeah.
In the park. It was the 4th of July. That's a Chicago reference for you all. Great song. But everyone's kind of predicting he'll go to that Haas car for Cup, but then that leaves 2 Ford seats open, and I assume it's Ford and Xfinity. Who knows? He may pull a fast one. So that could be an easy landing spot for Priest. Who knows? But I just don't see him moving the front row. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heim deserves to move up. My concern is we've seen drivers move up way too quickly to Cup. They've skipped Xfinity.
Yes.
Ruin their careers.
Here's the thing with Corey Heim, because I've noticed I've been, this is my brain. I apologize. I have been through like the ARCA platform, like following it a little bit closer for the past few years due to having cover it. It seems like Corey is going to take the slow and steady wins the race pace. He stayed in ARCA for a long time. This is his 2nd full-time year in trucks. This is what they do. And then you have other guys that are fast and jump the ladder. You know, if we look at that 20 car in ARCA, it was Corey Heim, then Jesse Love took it. And now Jesse Love's going to be in contention for an Xfinity title and probably the savior for Richard Childress Racing. I I definitely think Heim deserves a ride. I just don't know if Heim will take the ride. Is the thing.
Yeah. I
So
mean, he's proven even too when he's raced in the number 50 for 2311. The few times he has, he's done decently well.
even when he filled
So
in at Dover for the 43
yeah,
car, did
that's
great.
right.
Just get
And
out
he
there,
did
kept the
well.
car clean, did his job.
Yeah. So I would like to see him move up. I think again he will take the calm and steady approach of moving through the series, kind of the way NASCAR had originally intended it to, as opposed to jumping. I mean, again, there's not every driver who's jumped from truck to cup has had a total loss in their career. I think
Yeah,
Carson Osvar is a good example of that, where he moved to cup and he's doing fine. He's doing
yeah,
well. So,
plenty of them.
um, yeah. So,
Other
and then the other
questions.
thing too is manufacturer. Will they stick with Ford? Will they go to Toyota? We don't know. No, we don't know.
Honda,
Chevy.
baby,
I don't know.
we're going
Honda.
Hondas.
Bring them in. We'll see. I don't know. That's a good question though. I don't have any opinions on it right now, at least,
Real
because
one,
that's a big.
real
Huh?
talk though. Dodge, where you at,
They won't
baby?
come back.
Come on back. Tell me you
They
love
won't come
me.
back. They won't
I'll
do
welcome you
it.
with open arms. I'll buy flowers. I'll make a steak dinner.
Wow.
Dodge, come
He'll
back.
buy flowers.
Someone's gonna Photoshop my face. I was like at a table with Dodge, like the Chrysler
Someone's
logo.
gonna do it. Honestly,
Points.
it's very memeable.
Oh,
Honestly, there's a lot of memes that we make on this show.
I'm a very memeable person, so
It's okay. Let's go to some more NASCAR news real quick. Talked about this a little bit already. So I'll just kind of go through the spiel with the Richmond option tires. Of course, it's I believe the first race back after the Olympic break. We go to Richmond. The NASCAR Cup Series does, and we have option
USA,
tires. So
USA.
we have the we have the same option tires that we had at North Wilkesboro. The prime tire will have the yellow lettering. Optional soft tire will have red lettering, and then we have the wet weather tire that will have the white lettering. Only, of course, used if there is wet weather, etc. We will have an extended practice session there. They'll get one set of prime tires and practice tires for the practice session. Qualifying has to be done on primary tires, and then for the race, they have two sets of options. NASCAR is not going to dictate when a team uses the tires. Like you have to use optional tires at this point in the race, whatever. That's up to the teams.
Except for
The only
rain.
except for rain, exactly. Except for rain. The only rule is you have to have the same set of tires. All four of your tires have to be primary. All four of your tires have to be optional, etc. You can't mix and match. So that's the only thing that NASCAR is saying about this. But I liked when we had that option at North Wilkesboro. Ultimately, it didn't make that big of a difference when the sun went down, but when we were practicing with that tire, it was fun. So I'm excited to see how it does, quite honestly. But again, the Richmond race is going to be a night race, right? So I don't know if we're going to get that much of a
It's like
difference.
day to night, I
Is it?
think.
Yeah, day
Let's
to
see.
night. So
I think it's great, but this also continues on the quest of NASCAR changing the rules midway through the season because that's just what they do. And I get
that's what
that
I
your
don't
short
like.
track package has been struggling rapidly, as we all
Mhm.
know and complain about. Lee
Yep.
Diffie will be back. Let's go. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
this is what I'm so excited about. This right
Um,
here.
let's see. I have the
Go through it.
I apologize for being just an absolute mess
That's okay. You know,
today.
it's our first show back after a break. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, the Cookout 400. Cookout's good. Starts at 6
It's so
p.m.
good.
So that'll be a day to night race. Um,
Yeah. So the
I
tires
like
might
how
not matter as
NASCAR is
much.
not getting involved in the tire choices. That should be a crew situation, and they should do the same with
100%.
the rain tires. If you want my honest
100%.
opinion about it, but we're not here to hear about that.
No.
I just don't love how we're changing rules in the middle of the season again. Like
Mhm.
if you like this is I get that you want it in real race situations and you can't necessarily get that in testing situations
Mhm.
overall. Then if you're going to do that, then why did you not run the Clash like that? You ran the All-Star race like that.
Right.
Why not run the Clash like that too? Get more data and then say, hey, we're going to do this
And
next year.
I agree with that 100%, but I also think it's like, what other time though are we going to have to implement this? We tried it at North Wilkesboro, then we realized that it worked. So then we're using it moving forward, but at the same time, again, it leaves in the question of like, okay, is it going to illegitimize a
Yeah.
championship if we're changing rules?
And that's where
And
we
it's
get into it, is the thing.
yeah,
Like I apologize for interrupting you again. I'm
You're
sorry.
good. I'm trying to
Um,
compile my thoughts at the same time, so as I'm thinking, go for it.
'Cause it's one of those things. Okay, we know Richmond has this. Okay, is Bristol going to have this in the first round of the playoffs? The
Right.
last race of the first round, the cutoff race. Is Phoenix going to have this? Is Martinsville going to have this? My camera battery light's flashing red, Taylor, so I may go away at some point for a
That's
few minutes.
terrifying. That's okay. It's fine.
But like this is the thing. Like we're opening a little bit of a Pandora's box deal here, and I don't love
Yeah.
that. What NASCAR does that. So what do I know?
Yeah. It's the balance between experimenting to make the product better because the short track package, as we all know and have discussed at nauseum, is awful. But with the tire, we found that that is a fix, at least for now, before we get into more extensive fixes with like the engine, etc. So, do we want to experiment now with it and hope that the product's better, or do we not want to do that and just keep the product as crappy as it is? And it's the balance, right? And then also, too, if you think about like the wet weather tires, was this? I forget the race. Was it New Hampshire where we had the wet weather tires to
Yes, New
finish out
Hampshire
the
was
race?
the
Yeah,
first oval race competitively.
that was. Yeah, that was an experiment, but the NASCAR teams and NASCAR themselves, like they were okay with. I don't know why I said the NASCAR teams. That felt really weird, but the teams in NASCAR were okay with using that as an experiment. It could have it probably changed the outcome of the race ultimately, but not really because Christopher Bell did really well. So ultimately, no. But if the sanctioning body and the teams are okay with using these races as an experiment before the playoffs hit, then I guess that's okay. I still don't totally like it, but again, you're going to get in these situations with weather, changing the tires to have various strategies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels weird to me. And then everyone, I've seen also complaints on even TikTok too on some of my videos about the option tires. Everyone's like, is NASCAR turning into IndyCar or like, with the option tires and whatever? But maybe just bring a softer tire altogether and just call it good.
If it makes the
know?
racing fun, whatever. But I love how NASCAR is being like me in that we will go out of our way to not go to the hospital when we're sick, like I did last year. They're going out of their way to not fix the problem, which would be more horsepower for these cars and less
Yeah.
more mechanical style grip as to aero grip. Again,
Yeah.
what do I know? I'm just some kid in Kentucky.
Hey, it's okay. We're just two people that have covered NASCAR for a while and just like talking about it,
Yeah.
Worked with drivers, maybe worked with some teams, been in the garage area. This is
I've
who
done
we are.
nothing important. Taylor's the cool one here. I just ride her coattails.
That's insane.
I've
Quit.
told Taylor before that when she makes it famous, I will gladly ride her coattails all the way to that fame.
Oh, dear God. I won't be
I'm a
famous.
good friend, guys.
Ben is a good friend. If you ever need a good friend, go to Ben.
Or not. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you what to do. It's fine.
What other news?
Other news that we have, the other big news. Well, there's two other pieces of news I wanted to talk about.
Oh, geez. I don't know if my battery will last that long, but go ahead.
It'll be okay. We'll be fine. It'll be good. I'll speed through this. Alpha Prime Racing acquired JD Motorsports number 4
Yes.
owners points. I know I just said that really fast, so apologies. But the owners points from the number 4 will go to Alpha Prime's number 45 entry. This comes after a report from Toby Christie, citing sources saying that JD Motorsports laid off a large portion of their workers following the Pocono Raceway weekend. Also, JD Motorsports filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in April. So just some changes there to take note of in Xfinity. Kind of talking to, I know I talked about this earlier on my TikTok live stream that I did about an hour and a half ago at this point. But how it's interesting that teams are quickly leaving the sport or drivers halfway through the year are suddenly vanishing from the series. And this is typically what happens anyways during a year. You figure out you don't have enough funding or the driver talent isn't there and you make changes so the team can be viable.
Yeah.
So
I will say this, I get people don't like JD Motorsports after the whole incident in New Hampshire. If you know, you know.
Right. If you know, you know.
But I will say this is a tough loss. JD Motorsports has been around for years in the Xfinity garage. We were talking about it the other night in my iRacing with friends. Like, real ones remember the 01 Sundrop car that was green and the 4 Flex Seal cars that they ran.
God.
And when Morgan Shepherd at Texas wrecked his car and JD said, we've got a backup, we're going to primer it up and do an 89. There were 5 red cars that were all done by JD Motorsports.
That was incredible.
He's like, he got a lot of crap and rightfully so for some of it, but that was a decent team for a long time that ran mid-pack. I mean, without JD Motorsports, we don't have Ross Chastain in some ways. And 100%. I know everyone credits Ganassi, but like it was Ross running those races in the 4 car, doing well in them. We don't have Garrett Smithley who's going to run the 45 this weekend at Indy. We don't have a lot in some ways without JD Motorsports and a lot of great people. Alex, who used to be their social guy way back in 2019, really great guy. He got let go of the team a couple months after I met him. He was a great guy. Leighton Sybil, I believe. I apologize, Leighton.
Yeah.
He now works. I think he still does legacy stuff, but he was doing JD Motorsports social and PR when I met him, and now he's here. Like,
yeah, and he did stuff for like GMS, and like it's been cool to see his career. I've wanted to have him on the show for a
he's
while
a good guy
because I really want to have like a PR episode, and there's some other PR reps that I love in this sport that I would love to have on the show, just because we see them by the drivers all the time, but you don't really know what they do sometimes. So yeah, I feel like that'd be really cool. But
this is a tough one. If they do not make it through this, that's a tough loss. I mean, Ryan Vargas. The reason Ryan Vargas stayed relevant and was able to move to this role that he has in Euro is a little bit due to JD Motorsports and what they did for him. So Brennan Poole.
Brennan Poole, for instance. I mean, he's brought this team. A lot of these drivers have been really good at bringing prominent sponsors to JD Motorsports. Yeah. I mean, TikTok, for instance, right? With Ryan Vargas.
Yeah. Like it's a tough one to lose. And I get why it happens and it stinks, but that is the life of a small team. But yeah, it's kind of a tough one losing the Xfinity Garage if it is true.
Yeah, and even like in Truck 2 with Faction 46 and seeing all that stuff happen. Now, there's other factors that go into why that team had shut down performance-wise, wrecking weekly, etc. Like, I won't get into that, but like, not even to like hate on it. That's not what I mean. But like, you see, if you're junking equipment every weekend, you're losing money more than you're bringing in. It's just a fact. And so you're seeing teams in Truck and Xfinity just kind of swapping things out, or they're leaving, or they're merging teams halfway through the year. I feel like this is happening more this year than it has in past years. And maybe I'm just not remembering things, but this year feels very different. And then, of course, with Haley Deegan, all that stuff, that feels pretty prominent too. But writing was on the wall. I don't know. It feels like a really weird year for all this stuff to be happening. But with current state of the sport,
it happens.
It happens.
This is just kind of like, it makes me think of those old days when like owner points would swap for guys to get in the top 35 and not have to qualify on speed and stuff. So it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. So
yeah, nature of the beast. But something to keep in mind if you're watching the Xfinity Series race this weekend, which highly recommend it. Again, they're going to have a super speedway type of package, which will be interesting. So worth a watch. Hope everyone stays safe. But again, if you're looking at the field this weekend and you notice some things might be a little different, or they talk about on the broadcast, that's what's up. Last thing I wanted to talk about, the Mazda MX-5 Cup Series. So I watched my first race when we were at Mid-Ohio for that series.
Oh, it's such a great series, Taylor.
I adore it. I adore it so much. It's so fun. Well, they're going to be at Martinsville on October 26th running a race. It's going to be right before the Wheel and Modified Tour runs theirs.
It's the best.
It's like the best doubleheader race ever.
Do you know how this got started?
Moon car, right?
Yes. So
yeah, it was all Moon car.
I was one of the first people to ever run the Moon Car 24 Martinsville race. My team, my iRacing team, and I, we
were part of a movement.
He said, we're going to do this for Toys for Tots. We're going to stream for 24 hours. We're going to race Miatas in Martinsville. And that's what Moon Car
is. Oh my God, I remember this.
Yeah, we did that. Okay, yep. We were one of the first teams. And oh my God, it was the best time. And then he's done it ever since. Last year was a little chaotic because there were 60 cars instead of 42. But it was a blast. It's a blast. It's a fun time. I don't think those cars will handle like they do in the simulation at all. But God bless, it's so much fun. I'm very happy that this is a real thing. So Travis Brown, wherever you're at, probably, I think he's in Eldora, probably partying his ass off right now. Have a good night, brother. You did this.
Probably. My God. No, it's always so fun to see something that starts online become a reality. And this is like one of those testaments to people just like had this idea. Yeah, it's all simulation. This isn't we're not real right now.
Oh gosh, this is getting existential again.
I hate it. But no, it's like, again, it's, you put an idea out there, as silly as it might be, and now it's reality, and that's cool. And I think Chicago that series, yeah, 100%. Oh, this is also the first race. This is the first oval race for the series, the Mazda MX-5.
Don't ask me that. I don't know the answer to these questions. This was not on the study guide.
Toby's article. So
go to TobyChris.com for all your racing news. And T-shirts.
sick
We
shirt.
got
Sick
T-shirts.
shirt.
T-shirts
got
pay
t-shirts.
for my paycheck. Please buy T-shirt. I don't think it actually pays for my paycheck, but
It might help. You never know. We don't know. Regardless, I didn't give that series a glance until we were at Mid Ohio because it was there, and I was like, "Well, now I'll watch it." If you're not
so
watching it, you're missing out. It's
so
so
much fun.
cool. So I'm glad that they're going to get a little bit of a spotlight shown on them during the Martinsville weekend. That'll be awesome. So excited about it.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. So we don't have a top 10 this weekend because it's been a bit since we've been to the Oval. There's been a lot of changes for the Indy Oval, changes in drivers and stuff. So we don't have a top 10 this week. But again, we do have a list of the active full-time drivers that are past winners at this track. And that is, of course, Brad Keselowski, 2018. And then you have Kyle Busch, 2015, 2016. So
yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like there's going to be a lot of confusion and chaos in this race and experimentation. I'm interested to see how it goes.
I still don't understand the new qualifying format. I hate to say that, but I still don't.
I feel like I could learn Italian faster than I could understand this qualifying format, and I have a college degree in video production, mind you. This will be an interesting weekend. I'm excited for Indianapolis to be back. I feel like this is one of those, it should have never left it, and I get why it did leave, but it's a true crown jewel in a lot of ways.
Getting rid of a crown jewel race feels like a crime, but the product just wasn't there.
That's fair. And maybe with this new car, it'll be great. They've done testing and it shows good results. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Again, Xfinity Series, I'm going to be watching that very closely with them running that package this weekend. And then just for Cup, again, we've been to the road course the past few years. Last year's road course race, I'm not going to lie, was actually pretty decent.
It was all right, yeah. It was a good road course race.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
It was nice because they let it play out naturally as to throwing stage cautions.
Yeah.
So.
Which is good.
Sorry, Michael McDowell. We'll get you on the next one.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael. It's okay. But Ty Majeski, we're talking about IRP now. Ty Majeski won their race last year in the Truck Series, I believe.
Yes, he did.
So we'll
that
see.
Was the one that second. Battery is dead.
No. That's okay. It's all right. You're frozen in like a good spot though. Like you don't look scary, so that's good.
Change or charge. Anyway, yes, this will be a fun weekend of racing in like the heartland of America. So,
yeah, I will say. Then going back to first off, Ben, do you want to add anything about ARCA this weekend at IRP?
The only really big thing is this is an ARCA East weekend. It's a combination race between ARCA Menard Series and ARCA Mart Series East cars. So Connor Zilich will be in. I know he's a fan favorite. Yeah, tune in, watch, enjoy it. It's precursor to a truck race. I will throw in. I'll throw a bone. Presley Sora, who's been on the show. There it is. I was wondering when it would go off. Presley Sora, who's been on the show, he's a really nice guy. Him and Gavin Newton are tag teaming. They're both hometown kids from Cambridge, Indiana. So if you're looking for an underdog to root for, both of those guys would be really good guys to root for. Really cool dudes. Did a story on them this week earlier on TobyChristie.com. Check that out. That's about it for ARCA.
Yeah, we also
I'm going to find a battery to put in my camera now.
Yeah, go for it. We also interviewed Presley a few weeks ago on the show. It was such a fun interview, so make sure to check that out. It was our last live stream that we did, or the 2 live streams ago that we did. But definitely look out for that. I did want to give you the odds for NASCAR posts their betting odds every single week for Indy. Obviously, they change as the week continues and as practice and qualifying happen. But top of their list this week was 4-1 odds. Denny Hamlin. Then we have Kyle Larson 6-1, Ryan Blaney 15-2, which I think Blaney, any of the Penske crew might have really good odds this weekend. You have Brad right behind Blaney, 15-2, Elliott 9-1. You have Byron 10-1. Just interesting odds here for these different drivers. I think Truex is the one I'm curious to hear about from you, Ben.
Hi everyone, this is my desk at work. If anyone cares,
this feels like
here's an office tour. There's all the photos that I've taken that are hanging on my wall. If you want to watch this turn, I don't even know what we're talking about. I didn't have headphones in.
It's okay. It's okay.
This is my my sports wall, my memorabilia. This is it's backwards, but it's a good old meme from Little Bubby Child. Stuff where I ran 5Ks, concert posters. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will shut this camera off so I can get it back on the tripod. Taylor, you can continue with what you were talking about. Have a great time.
So we'll wait till Ben has his headphones back on, but I also want to hear your guys' thoughts too. Who you think has a good chance this weekend? I know Truex has been thrown around a few times, at least in my comment section on TikTok lives that I've done this week. Everyone's like, "Do you think Truex gets his first win this weekend?" I personally don't think it's this weekend. I would give him his next best chance would be after the Olympic break when we go to Richmond. Again, he was so close to winning it in the spring. We're going to be under similar-ish enough conditions in terms of day to night. I know the temperatures will be a little bit warmer, but and we'll have a tire option this time around, which will be a little different. But he's back. Ben,
Hello. I am
do
sorry
you
for
think
being terrifying, raging Wolverine.
you're good? You're good. I will say Ben is okay. He's good. What do you think about Truex's potential to win this weekend?
Oh, there's probably none at all.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
I would love it because he's in the auto owner's car, and that's a sick scheme. Especially
Yeah.
this year's, it's better than what it has been in years past. But I don't suspect him to have a good chance at winning. It'd be really cool to watch him win
It would be great.
another crown jewel, because he's probably never going to win the Daytona 500. So it'd be awesome. I would love it. I expect the veterans though to have a better opportunity this weekend as to some of the young guys. It's just me.
I mean, I think too, maybe where the playing field will level out is nobody's truly sure how this Gen 7 car handles on this oval. So the veterans might have muscle memory a little bit of how the Gen 6 ran, and it might be to their detriment a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know. This is the thing that it's just so unknown.
yeah.
Please don't stay home, Martin, because if I go, I want to see that auto owner's car, and it's a sick car. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how that first practice will be very interesting.
It will be very
everyone's going
telling.
to be on their edge of their seat to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Even for like Xfinity stuff now too, because probably a lot of the notebook has changed for Xfinity cars as well.
Yeah.
But especially Cup cars. So it'll just be an interesting weekend. I interrupted. What did we talk about while I was busy terrorizing your stream?
It literally was asking about Martin Truex Jr. That's
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah, and
My
I was just
boy.
giving some of the odds, like even to like Denny Hamlin. Beer Money says Denny will be a factor as well. I absolutely believe
Yeah.
that this is the one crown jewel that he does not have. So this is definitely circled on their calendar, I am sure. According to, I believe it was the track president for Indy, and I believe this was on
Doug
Sirius
Balls.
XM's
Doug Balls?
what's
Doug
this?
Balls. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Sirius XM NASCAR Radio's X page. I want to make sure I
Twitter.
pull this up because I want to be right.
Twitter,
Yeah,
formerly
Twitter.
X. We're professionals here, guys.
Yes, Doug Bowles, this was from him. He says that it looks like we will have the Brickyard 400, the oval back next year, and there's a potential of rotation between the road course and the oval in the future.
How about no dog?
Yeah, I just don't rotate them out. Just give us the oval if it works. Don't rotate it. Don't do that.
Yeah, that is a very devastating loss that Denny had a couple years ago.
Yeah.
At the Brickyard. But yeah, it's one of those Rovals and road courses aren't gonna fix everything. They'll fix a lot of things, sure. It's like if I got drunk every night. Like that's not gonna fix every emotional issue I have in life. It'll fix it short term, but not long term. So like road courses and ovals aren't gonna fix that. That's a bad metaphor. Practice safe alcohol responsibilities. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Taylor, I'm sorry. I really am.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I mean, you can't. We know with this Gen 7 car, we don't have the road course figured out. So why play around with bringing the road course back already when we still don't have it solidified? That's why I think it's great that they're already kind of pre-announcing a little bit that the oval will be back next year.
Yeah.
Before you do anything different with it, but yeah.
Yeah. Again, you're also it's a crown jewel, and you took that away from us, and you want to do it again. Like,
how dare it? Don't do that. Don't toy with our emotions like that. It's like a toxic ex, you know.
Yeah, trust me, I know. Unfortunately, but yeah, I don't know. I want to keep that on the oval. I feel like this is something that I try and tell people that hated on the Brickyard. I went in 2019, so the last kind of like in-person one before COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the like energy and aura around Indianapolis Motor Speedway is insane.
It's
Like,
insane.
it's exciting to be at Bristol. It's exciting to go to these short tracks for when I cover ARC races. Charlotte's cool. Indianapolis feels different. Like, it just, the energy it brings and the excitement I got to be there. And yeah, it wasn't a
Right.
incredible racing. That was when they had the big spoiler still, big ass spoiler. There you go, Dale Jr.
Yeah.
But something about it just felt different and special. And it's like walking into a history museum. It's like walking into a history museum and watching a live reenactment take place. It's
I
like
think
it's like going to Joe Louis Arena and watching the Red Wings play when Joe Louis Arena existed. Like, it's so different.
it's monumental, and I think too what's really special about Indy is that, one, the town supports it wholeheartedly,
Mhm.
and there's respect for it. Any race, any series that goes there, there is respect, and that
Yeah.
builds a sense of pride, and I feel like when you go to Indy, you feel prideful. You're like, "Oh my god, this is a really big race." Like, everyone loves this. It's respected. It's a big deal, and the track in every series makes sure that you know it's a big deal, and you feel that when
Mhm.
you go into the track. There are
Yeah.
very few tracks I've been to that make me feel that way. I mean, I would say Daytona is really cool, but I've never gone for an actual race. I've toured it. But, like, I think too, like, during the 600 weekends, like, that race in particular for me, I walk in and I'm like, "Whoa, like, this is a really big deal." But, like, for Indy, again, bucket list track. But you're there. You're back. You're good.
I don't know why I froze again.
Um, I just it's a different feeling I would
It is.
imagine what you
It's
described.
magical.
Insane.
There's so much history there. Over 100 years of racing.
Yeah.
Probably some of the greatest names to ever exist in motorsports have been there. Like, it's so different and it's so beautiful. And to see the paddock and Gasoline Alley in person and set there by Pit
It's
Road.
insane.
Like, I'm Tower Terrace, which is behind Pit Road. That's so cool. Like, it's so cool to
Yeah.
experience and be a part of. And one of my dreams, hopefully in the next few years, is to actually go for a 500 as to just the Brickyard. And I'm just so excited for it. So keep it on the oval.
Yeah, keep it on the oval. I think 2027 will be my year to go to the 500, the Indy 500. I think so.
You heard it here first, folks. ATYL meetup
Maybe.
at the Indianapolis 500 in 2027.
We're gonna plan maybe 2026. Who knows? I honestly forgot.
That's too
Next
soon.
year is 2025. I kind of skipped a
2026 is
year.
still
in
too
my
soon.
head.
I gotta wait. I gotta
Yeah.
put that out there.
It's anxiety inducing. My God. But anywho, any closing thoughts before we end the show today?
Lots of good
Yeah,
racing gonna happen this weekend. What's that? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I just feel like a therapist when they're like, anything else before we go in our session today? Like,
She
that's
does.
like
Mine does
therapist.
say that to me. So, Emily, wherever
Yeah.
you're at, if you ended up seeing this, have a great night.
Shout out to Emily. But
She's
any
cool.
closing thoughts? Any last questions from the comment section before we go wrap up the show? But Ben, closing thoughts before
A
we
lot
get
of
to the
good
audience?
racing this weekend. All 4 series are active and in Indianapolis. If you're out, get a ticket and go to a racetrack. If you're not in Indianapolis, go out, get a ticket, go to a racetrack near you if they're racing.
100%.
Really cool weekend. I always get excited when Indiana's racing because that is like the racing state and it feels like in the country. Like, even when you drive to Indiana, like the Google Maps thing pops up and it's a race car driver and it's like, welcome to Indiana. But a lot of good racing this weekend. Enjoy it. Take it in. And I think it's good weather, so that'll be nice. So suck that rain.
God. Yeah. Mother Nature.
Please don't
She's not
trade
been
me
our
down.
friend the past few weeks. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, be nice to us, but also too, like, God, if you're gonna be at the race though, hydrate. It's gonna be so darn hot.
Drink water.
Hydrate, take care of yourself. Hydration starts the day before.
Yeah.
But might I suggest Body Armor IV? Not a sponsor, but it helps. Not a sponsor.
But please sponsor us.
Please sponsor us, please.
So, but yeah, that's my closing thoughts. Just enjoy the weekend, enjoy the chaos of it. Have fun with it. It's going to be a fun weekend, and someone's going to kiss those bricks like I wish I could kiss them.
Yeah, legendary.
Yeah.
All right, well, for myself and Ben, thanks for tuning in tonight. Of course, to keep up
Apologies.
with all of our content. Don't know. Apologies. It's all good. It's our first show back. We're glad to be back. It was great to hear you all in the comments, etc. But of course, TobyChristie.com. Hello, microphone. For all of the latest NASCAR news, updates throughout the race weekend. Joseph, Toby, Dewey, everyone involved on the team does an excellent job covering the race weekend. So make sure to visit TobyChristie.com for all the latest news and updates. We have some stories that we've broke that we'll be developing as well, like with the JD Motorsports. I think we were the only ones that really picked up on that, which was crazy.
Yeah, Joseph broke it.
As always, in honor of
Sorry,
Dom, who
there it
cannot be
is.
here on the show tonight,
This one goes out to you,
spiders
big
are
dog.
our friends. I can't believe Dom has left that much of an impact on the spiders thing.
I can't
That's
believe we've
insane.
had this much of an impact on society at this point.
Honestly, facts though. Yeah, but TobyChristie.com, and obviously to find more about us at Above the Yellow Line, our specific show, what we do, go to AboveTheYellowLine.com. We're more than just a podcast and show. We go to the track. We work with some drivers as well from my side of things. So we do a lot. So just to learn more about us, get your ATYL merch. I've packed the hat. Oh, wait, no. Yes, I've packed the hat that I like to, that we're actually selling online. But buy your hats AboveTheYellowLine.com, of course. And then, as always, we're all on social media. Follow us on social media for updates, etc., content, creative content, all this fun stuff. So find us there. And we'll see you next time. Have a great race weekend. Talk to you all later.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.